It's Christmas. Listen to the jingle bells, go through the intro, and then I'll share a little Christmas message with you.
Welcome to the Product Agility Podcast, the missing link between agile and product. The purpose of this podcast is to share practical tips, strategies, and stories from world-class thought leaders and practitioners. Why, I hear you ask? Well, I want to increase your knowledge and your motivation to experiment so that together we can create ever more successful products. My name is Ben Maynard, and I'm your host. What has driven me for the last decade to bridge the gap between agility and product is a deep-rooted belief that people and products evolving together can achieve mutual excellence.
So it ends 2024 for the Product Agility Podcast. It's been a great year. It's been a challenging year. There have been some amazing guests. And so this is just an episode to say thank you to a few people and update you about next year. Next year, we're going to be hanging around. I have to admit, there have been times this year where I have wondered why I do the podcast. Because it's a lot to balance. Client work, training gigs, family life. We're recording the podcast episodes, getting them turned around and edited, and etc., etc. It's hard. It's been a hard balance. There have been times where I wondered, is this really what I should be doing with my time? But yet I'm still here and we're still producing content. The fact that we have so many more listeners than we did do last year, we're getting close to 1,000 or so, probably recent figures state, active listeners, frequent listeners. That's amazing news. And the fact that so many of you want to listen to me after what started as a little hobby is just amazing. You get something from these conversations, and that's brilliant. And if I had a Christmas wish, all I'd wish is that we get more feedback from you all, more messages, emails, whatever it is. Just let us know that you listen. Don't even care if you say what you like or don't like, but just share a little story about the podcast, where you listen to it. Are you going for a jog? Are you going for a walk? Has it helped you get a job? Whatever it might be. There were a number of people that did reach out to me this year and say, how positively the podcast had affected them. And to everyone that did, I thank you so much. Your feedback meant the world to me. And there were times I had a tear in my eye, I must have to admit, because it's nice to know you're having an impact. So my Christmas wishes, guys, just message me, email hello@sheave.co.uk, message us on LinkedIn, whatever it takes, just to drop us a little note. Just let us know you're there and you're listening and that you're getting something from this, because your motivation, as silly as it may sound, that's what keeps me going, and that's what keeps me producing this content. When I started the podcast, it was just me trying to promote large-scale Scrum, and it's morphed and evolved into so much more. So we're looking forward to having some really interesting conversations with, again, a wide selection of people next year. We are an open door. We'll have many people on here, even if what they want to talk about is only tangentially related to product agility. So this leads us then to the thank yous, the people I want to thank this year. I wanted to say thank you to Andrew Marquet, Jose Casal, and Jean-Paul Bailey for their support and partnership with Lean Agile London and Productized. It's sad that Lean Agile London won't be back again next year, but Productized, hopefully you'll have us back. Lean Agile London have had problems finding sponsorship, which I think maybe speaks to maybe some of the challenges in the Agile community at the moment. So again, to you three, thank you so much. Your partnership, the exposure, for support you've given the podcast, it means the world. Thank you to Daniel Terhorst North for coming on the podcast, for being so gracious, for introducing me to Jeff Gotthealth, for introducing me to other podcast guests, and also for everything you've done for the product and agile community. That's fun. Thank you so much. To Josh Stein and Jeff Gotthealth for making me a certified training partner for Sense and Respond Learning. Thank you. I can't wait to share some of the stories of my experiences of lean product canvases with the podcast listeners next year, and maybe see some of you all on some of the training I'll be running on lean product canvases in the new year too. So it's not on strictly on the podcast side of things, but more broadly for Shiv as well. Thank you to Shireen Wren. Shireen is the person behind the scenes. She makes a lot of this happen. She keeps the guests flowing in. She helps out with scheduling. So Shireen, none of this would be possible without you. And every single person that's listening to this, if you feel that the podcast has given you something, it's because of the work that Shireen does. So thank you, Shireen. Thank you to my kids. Kids, if you listen to this, at some point in the future, you're a bit young now, but I record this podcast so you can have an insight into who I am. So that maybe one day you will listen back to this and learn more about me than I ever could have shared. So boys, if you're listening, a lot of this is for you. Thanks to my wife, who doesn't listen, but I don't blame her because she has to put up and listen to me in real life all the time anyway. And finally, thank you to everyone who listens. As I said, it's great to know that we give something back to you all. And so your continued listenership is appreciated. So I've had a really hectic 6 months. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to finish recording this. I'm going to do a few client calls and then begin to call it a day for the year. So thank you very, very much. Thank you for listening. We're back again in the second week of January with more awesome guests. Just who it is, well, let's wait and see. I'll keep that a surprise. But I'm going to sign off. This is Ben Maynard, and you've been listening to the Product Agility Podcast.